What do Mattel, Banana Republic, ButcherBox, and Glossier all have in common? They power their businesses with Shopify. Shopify is the most innovative and scaled commerce platform on the planet that also happens to have the best converting checkout on the planet. And that's no industry secret. That's Shopify. Learn more at shopify.com/enterprise.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Getaway Day, Friday, October 4th, 2024. It's also World Smile Day. I might give that a try. They say it's healthier than just glaring at people. Today, we have an update on the Alabama Power solar fees lawsuit, an update on the longshoremen's strike, and what Triumph the insult comic dog said to Senator Katie Britt. My name's Ike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. A Montgomery judge has denied a motion to dismiss the federal lawsuit over Alabama Power's solar fees, reports AL.com's Margaret Cates. Plaintiffs in the case, which include the Greater Birmingham Alliance to Stop Pollution, that's GASP, filed suit against the Alabama Public Service Commission in U.S. District Court. Now, the Public Service Commission's job is to regulate utilities, and the lawsuit argues that it was against the law for the PSC to allow Alabama Power to charge fees to people who use solar panels. Alabama Power joined the suit as an intervenor defendant, and along with the PSC, had claimed that the court did not have jurisdiction in the case and asked for it to be dismissed. The court disagreed, and the case will move forward. Now, Alabama Power has said it charges a fee to customers who use non-emergency power generating sources, such as solar panels, because it still has to generate backup power to those customers. The plaintiffs call the fees discriminatory and unfair and claim that they discourage the use of solar energy. Dock workers in Mobile and International Longshoremen's Association members along the East and Gulf Coasts are back at work after a bargaining agreement was reached to delay a strike until January 15th, reports AL.com's Howard Koplowitz. Work can resume so quickly because union members didn't need to vote for a temporary hold on the work stoppage. Now, according to the Associated Press, the sides came together on wage increases, but still have concerns about the automation of labor. Said Alabama Port Authority Director and CEO John Driscoll, quote, "Getting the container terminals back to work is critical for all Americans, and the contract extension is significant progress toward a permanent resolution that we're very happy to see." Well, the other day, we mentioned that U.S. Senator Katie Britt was in the spin room on behalf of J.D. Vance after Tuesday night's vice presidential debate. It turns out that so was Triumph the insult comic dog. Now, Triumph is a sock puppet. He's a creation of Robert Smigel, who's a comedian and a former writer for Saturday Night Live back when it was funnier. You might have seen Triumph the insult comic dog on the old Late Night with Conan O'Brien show, meeting sci-fi convention attendees and making mean jokes about them to their delight. He seemed pretty bipartisan in the spin room. One example of his swinging a metaphorical double-bladed axe was his comment that Tim Walz is what J.D. Vance will look like after a 4-year term working with Donald Trump. Senator Katie Britt did not escape his verbal darts either, reports AL.com's Mark Heim. While Britt was doing an interview, Triumph lurked nearby and said into his camera, quote, "The great Senator Katie Britt, whose post-State of the Union speech is now considered a Halloween holiday classic." If it didn't bite a little, it wouldn't be funny. Let's take a quick commercial break to raise money to pay our solar panel fees, and then we'll have a listener take this week's quiz. Y'all stay with us.
What do Mattel, Banana Republic, ButcherBox, and Glossier all have in common? They power their businesses with Shopify. Shopify is the most innovative and scaled commerce platform on the planet that also happens to have the best converting checkout on the planet. And that's no industry secret. That's Shopify. Learn more at shopify.com/enterprise.
Thanks, everybody, for staying with us. It's Friday, which is quiz time. We have another listener/contestant in the virtual studio to take our quiz, and I think we got a good one this week. It's been a fairly busy week as far as news. But first of all, let's welcome to the Down in Alabama studios, Ryan Cork. Well, glad to have you on the show, Ryan.
Glad to be here, man. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to not hearing the buzzer.
I brought it with me, though. I've got it just in case we need it.
I'm pretty sure you travel with it these days.
It's how I answer people, is I walk around with a buzzer. You mind if I cut in front of you here at the Publix?
Correct.
Well, where are you, Ryan?
So I live in Bentonville, Arkansas. I work in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I am work-wise, professionally, the vice chancellor for the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences here in the Northwest region of Arkansas, which is a regional campus, satellite campus off of the Little Rock campus of UAMS in Little Rock. So I've been here in Northwest Arkansas about 3.5 years now.
Yeah, glad to have you on. I like having people who are a lot smarter than me to help carry this show.
I think it may be just the bow tie.
The bow tie doesn't hurt.
Right. I figured I'd dress up for today.
So you've been paying attention to Alabama news. Can you tell me about your Alabama connections?
Yes, sir. So I'm from Birmingham. I was born at St. Vincent's. Grew up in Huffman, went to Huffman High School and lived in Center Point. And my grandfather was a Birmingham City police officer, and my father worked at O'Toole Engineering and UEC Engineering for 40 years collectively, and he now lives in Coleman, Alabama. And my sisters, they live in Coleman, and a couple of them one went to University of Alabama, two of them went to Faulkner State, which is now Columbia Southern, and I got a niece at Snead State University now. But yeah, I grew up, all my life in Birmingham. And then when I became of age, enlisted in the service and left and joined the Navy. And unfortunately, haven't been back to live, just to visit and, spend some time in Coleman and Vineland, Alabama, and Birmingham when I can, and Gulf Shores when I can. My one sister lives in Orange Beach now, so it's always a reason to get down to the coast.
Yeah, we would say that you're still eat up with Alabama then.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'd like to be more eat up with it. Maybe a lot of folks throughout the pandemic, you realized, hey man, I can do my job remote and I should do it somewhere else. And so I tried my hand at being a snowbird for 6 months out of the year, on and off down in Gulf Shores. And when you walk into the Floribama and it was you and all the other folks from Wisconsin and New Jersey, it didn't feel like Alabama, but I was glad to be at home.
Yeah, I started out in newspapers at the Panama City News Herald, and during the wintertime, we always had to make sure to get the Canadian Football League standings in the paper.
Exactly. Yeah. So CFL, and I guess Nashville has a team and Florida has a team, but the NHL, that was big. And folks with their flags and bumper stickers for Winnipeg or, Ontario, wherever, and thinking, how'd y'all end up here? But they'd load up and come on down for 6 months out of the year.
You and my wife share a high school alma mater. She graduated from Huffman.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm probably older. I'm 48. I graduated in 94.
Yeah, she actually graduated before you did, but she's only 29 now, so I'm not sure how that worked out.
I know it's Alabama math, but no, my folks, they went to, they lived in Inslee, and then moved over to Huffman, went to Huffman High School. My dad went to West End.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, I remember, I played Little League Baseball at South Roebuck, and
Okay.
remember Century Plaza and Eastwood Mall, and which is, are now all kind of gone and changed. And,
Mm.
um, East Lake Park, we'd hang out over there as kids. And, I enjoyed it tremendously. And, one of the things I used to go when I was younger, but looking back, that's not there anymore, city stages.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
sure you and the list remember that. But,
Yes.
we'd come down even after I left for the service. I'd come back on leave just to go to city stages.
First time she brought me to Birmingham, it was to see City Stages. I believe Snoop Dogg and Hank Jr. played the same night. Incredible event.
That makes total sense, right? And it worked. You could
Yeah.
have both ends of the spectrum, and it just worked. I think it was great. I think it's great. And you got Rock the South up in Coleman, but that's a one genre type of music.
Right.
Whereas city stages, to your point, you could have anybody and everybody.
Oh, yeah. There could be a Cajun band playing out of nowhere, or line
Yeah.
dancing suddenly. Yeah.
And they were all the best you'd ever heard. I don't know if that was the Miller Lite talking or if they were really that good, but we enjoyed the heck out of them.
I saw the very last concert at the Miller Lite stage, which was their main stage in their later years. Let's see. Well, I know obviously Leonard Skinner ended it, and
Right.
before them, the Doobie Brothers. That's right, Doobie Brothers and Leonard Skinner finished off City Stages.
Yeah. No, I mean, you'd see some excellent shows there. And, I don't know, they still do it, but they used to have some concerts over at Sloss Furnace.
Mhm.
They may still now, I don't know, but we could see some shows over there. And, there were up and coming artists. And so maybe they weren't the Leonard Skinners, but, they were doing all right for themselves and touring nationally. I would always stop in and play a show. And I appreciated, just having that, being in Birmingham, that was my whole world. But being able to have someone else come in and, listen and spend the evening, to your point, of jazz or funk or reggae, whatever it may be. But it was amazing.
Where did the service take you?
So my first duty station, ironically, was in Millington, Tennessee. And so after I went to boot camp in Florida, went to A school in San Diego, and then went to some schooling in Camp Pendleton, California, and then came back and worked out of the air station in Millington, and then left Millington and went to Southeast Asia and was there for a while. And so since 94 to roughly 2018, I was either active duty or inactive. And then I became a reservist. After grad school, I went back in and took a commission and was in the Medical Service Corps in the Navy. And so collectively, probably 15 years overseas, and then 3 to 5 domestically. Did a couple floats off the East Coast over to the Mediterranean and in and around Europe. So it was fantastic, right? I mean, a kid growing up in Alabama, and I never left the state, right? We went to Gulf Shores if we were lucky, and that was about it. And back then, Gulf Shores, it teed right into the ocean, and there was nothing else around. There was no hangout festival or anything like that. And there was Sea and Suds and Floribama. So got to experience the world and wanted to come back home. And when this opportunity in Arkansas opened up, it was the closest thing I could get to being back home.
A fascinating way to see the world. Yeah, thanks for your service. And let's see how you do on this quiz.
I've been studying. I've been re-listening to the podcast and reading the newsletter, and I hope I'm ready.
That's the trick, is to get contestants to listen to it 2 or 3 times so that we get more plays or downloads or ad listens or whatever it is they're judging me on every year.
Well, I'll definitely give you the likes or the thumbs ups, right? So it improves the ratings.
Yeah. Everybody do that. Give us a rating somewhere. That keeps us in business. Since we're free,
keeps the lights on.
That's right. All right, let's go to question number 1. Without further ado, what are the competitors in the Great Alabama 650 racing on? Dirt tracks, Talladega Superspeedway, the state's waterways, or I-65 South?
They are racing what could either be a kayak or a paddleboard in the state's waterways, from Lookout Mountain to Mobile Bay.
That's right. Lookout Mountain to Mobile Bay. It's a long way on a kayak.
650 miles.
That's right. Takes them over a week to get there. That's incredible to me, but another great way to see the state.
Absolutely.
All right. Question number 2. With another so-called most important election of our lifetime looming, we call them all that now, political noise seems to be as high as ever. Now, amid this, there was an election to fill a vacant Alabama State House seat to represent parts of Birmingham, Fairfield, Homewood, and Mountain Brook. Which figure is the closest estimate of turnout for that important local election? A, 5%, B, 10%, C, 25%, or D, 45%?
I like the question, and I do think it's a tough and fair question. The answer is A, 5%. And numerically, that represents about 1,400 people that turned out for the vote.
You're all over it. I'm not even sure people knew there was an election. I mean, we had stories.
You had stories. Well, and you gave advice to anyone that was getting into politics that maybe they could create a website so that folks knew how to spell their name.
That's the best way.
Yeah, if folks didn't know how to spell the other candidate's name, they didn't even know there was an election going on.
That's right. That's right. All right. Zipping right along here. Question number 3. What website blocked access to Alabama users because of a law that would have required it to verify the users' ages? Was it onlineliquor.com, Pornhub, DraftKings, or AL.com?
So it is across other states as well. The answer being B, Pornhub.
Yes, that's right. New Alabama law, and like you said, as state laws tend to do, they show up in more than one states at a time. No, AL.com, let me just be clear, is open for business.
And to support that, AL.com is not the same as AOL.com. I know there was some clarity needed in the past, and so I'm hoping to provide that clarity.
I appreciate you saying that. Anyone who gets a chance to say that, please do. We tend to have people from out of state largely. I'll get an email and it'll say, "Hey, Ike Morgan of AOL.com," which is a real blast from the past.
That or your Hotmail account, but yeah.
I still have a Hotmail account. I will not let it go. I don't search the internet with Netscape anymore, however.
Yeah, the dial-up days are gone.
All right. Question number 4. I'm starting to get nervous. I want to use my buzzer. I need to use it this week.
Well, I don't want to hear it.
Of the toilet paper used in the U.S., the vast majority is produced where? Is it Canada, Mexico, China, or the United States?
So the answer, to cut to the chase, is the United States. But if your listeners and readers would pay attention, they would understand that you tried to warn them that the longshoremen strike would not affect them, as we were not importing toilet paper. And so the rush and dash to buy up all the toilet paper was unnecessary.
That is correct. Yeah, we grow a lot of trees here in the United States, and it costs money to ship stuff. And toilet paper just isn't worth importing at this point.
No, sir. No, it is not.
All right. Well, that one was an easy one. To me, that one was the only super easy one, but you're making them all sound easy. At least act like you're having to think this next one through for a minute.
All right. Deal.
All right. Question number 5. Who was not in the box seats with President Trump at the Alabama-Georgia game? I think the question's self-explanatory, but I'm going to name 4 people, and you're to select the person who wasn't there. Randy Quaid, John Daly, Kid Rock or Tommy Tuberville?
So the Alabama Georgia game, I can't tell you with 100% certainty, and so I'm saying based off what I think would be affiliation with the presidential candidate and or the state of Alabama. And the one that doesn't stick out to me that maybe was not would be Mr. Randy Quaid.
Now, was that sounding like you weren't sure?
Yeah, I knew that answer. Yeah, and in fact, to kind of paraphrase you, the Herschel Walker and Bo Cephas, they were the bipartisan, just from an Alabama Georgia standpoint, as the former president was in the box, and so he was representing Alabama and Georgia, having those two individuals there.
That's right. Herschel Walker, of course, a Georgia great, and Hank Jr. was there. He was
Right.
He's often has a Bama hat on and hangs out in South Alabama.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, you have shamed us here. You just wiped the floor with this quiz. Well done.
Well, thank you, sir. I spent some time studying. I drove the past 2 days between here and Little Rock, which is about 3 hours each way. And so I had 6 total hours to listen and re-listen to each episode multiple times. So if you ever need a fill-in, you just call me. I'm happy to help and serve out.
Absolutely. That's the way to do it right there. You can't beat educated folks, people. Go get your degrees,
Exactly. Yes, sir. Agreed.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much for doing this. Hey, we're gonna, stay on. We're gonna get your address, send you a Down in Alabama coffee cup for taking the quiz with us. And everybody out there, thanks so much for listening to us. We're gonna be back here Monday morning. Until then, come on by and see us anytime you want to on the internet at al.com.